to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. And for today's adventure, we're joined by Highlander 87. And for today's adventure, it's just basically some random history, some of it here that we've never seen before on the channel. We're basically on one of these little roads out the back of New Tile in the lands of Scotland, and we just noticed this old remains here, which looks like it's been potentially some sort of house or a building. Here's a bumblebee, and also a beautiful display of snowdrops right here, folks. Yeah, look at this. This is what we love, little bits of history like this. It's like it's been a house. I think there's been like a door or whatever leading in there, but look, this is the side we could see from the main road. Wow, this is incredible. The whole wall is almost covered from the ivy. What a scene of history on today's video. Yeah, look at the wee window. That is incredible, it's still in there. This place is a great example of how nature in Scotland just takes back over. When a thing like this is abandoned, the wall and stuff ends up being held up by the ivy and the bushes. Look at the way it grows. Look at the shape of that, folks. Hey, it's crazy that that's a plant. It's like a bush. Look how it even grows all over the trees. And this is just so much fun to find places like this. Look, here's a bit of the original door frame. So this was most likely the main door coming in to the room. Or do you think this was the door over here? The shadow's at a poor angle today, folks. Yeah, look, here's the inside of the window. Today's video, folks, is going to be like a wee mixture of some different things like this. Oh, it's been like 2 rooms. You can see how this wall here has been built separate to the other wall here. And then this is interesting. Oh look, that has been a fireplace, because that's where the cooking apparatus was mounted. This would have been 2 fireplaces back to back. Because look, there's the one at this side. And that shows that it was 2 houses where they would have had cooking like apparatus. There was basically a metal frame here that they hooked the pots and the pans on, and then they would fold it above the fire to heat it up and to cook whatever they were making. And that was like the old countryside kitchen of that era. And this whole piece of land here would have been part of these little cottages. There were maybe farm workers' cottages or estate workers' cottages originally. Yeah, they must be ancient, 1700s or before it, sitting here in the land, maybe for a local nearby farm. But there we go, folks, it's another piece of history never seen before on the channel. Look how thick the wall is. It's so thick. Originally these would have often had like limestone mortar and then like a limestone render over them, and then over the years all that washes out with the weather and the stormy conditions in Scotland. Yeah, I was just capturing it from all angles. But wow, what a cool thing. Over this side I can see loads of spider webs shining in the sunshine. Yeah, so this has been it. Within this compound here, folks, it's been the double cottage. And to see the window and stuff and the way it's all broken, that's the coolest part of the detail, or the coolest detail of the history. Look how thick the tree trunks are that grow through it. The bushes are getting stuck on the camera. Anyway, like I say, folks, let's head on to the next location in this madness. Check this out, folks. We're at location number 2 on this wee adventure, and we're actually coming to this location to see what work's been done, if any, to repair this bridge. It's literally been closed for like 3 years now, and it used to be a main road over the lands of Scotland, and this is like a lot of the bridges and that in the lands of Angus. They've been getting damaged for storms, and the council's not actually been fixing them at all. But yeah, investing millions of pounds into projects in the town that benefit nobody at all. And this is one of these bridges which are actually kind of historical piece in the land, and an amazing bit of stonework and architecture, and at one time such a crucial artery of transport for many locals in this area of land. And also farmers obviously try to get on with agricultural and stuff for the feeding of humanity. They're also struggling. Imagine you lived at this side here. For years you were able to drive to the local towns like Kirriemuir and such like, and then the road's closed. You have to do like a 12-mile detour. You would think after like 3 years something would have been done here. So look at this, folks. This is where the road is actually falling away down the hill. Check it out, it's just basically a landslide. The original stonework, which is built down onto the foundation of the bedrock, is actually fine. But the tar and stuff's the only thing holding up this section now. It really needs some serious stonework and masonry work done. Obviously the structural integrity of the bridge is still there. It's actually the land around the bridge that the issue's with. And this is actually a fault line in the landscape, this den of early here. Yeah, this area here is a gradual slope, but that bit there, the storm has just taken it away. You can actually see here, originally it's been built properly to here. Yeah, this whole bit, there's a door and stuff for a card in there and a seat. Yeah, in a storm all that went away. Look at the cable and stuff that's down there. Yeah, the old roadside barrier, it's now lying over there. That's how much is gone. But you would think surely after like years, this should be fixed, because it's originally it was built here no problem, and now it's like that, like they can't even do it, it's no possible. But yet there's so much millions getting spent on projects, like the Brecon flood defence that was a failure, and the Arbroath cycle route, where there's already passed the cycle on there. Millions of pounds, no even 10 million, even more than that, folks. It's scary figures. But yet the infrastructure of Angus in the surrounding areas to get to the towns, you can hardly get to them, because even the bridge of Dun and stuff near Brecon is still closed months later, years later in fact. It's amazing in areas like this, folks, how nature does take back over. The surface of the road at the far end looks like it's hardly ever been a road. It's all covered with leaves, and it's amazing to see the way the ivy and stuff grows up over the trees and even the fence.
Because it's not been used, it makes them look.
Yeah, look at the barrier here. It makes you think how all of planet Earth would end up looking if all humanity just disappeared. It would turn back to a jungle, which at one time it must have been. Here we are, we've come down to the water's edge here, folks, at the Den of Airlie, and I believe this is actually the River Isla here that we're seeing, and it's crazy to see the way that it's like carved through the bedrock in this section. Yeah, and look, there's the incredible bridge that we were just on top of a minute ago. This is incredible. I love bringing you places like this on the videos, folks. I can share little corners of Scotland with people all over the world, and it's like paradise. Look at the way that this rocks and stuff is actually worn under, almost like a cave. But these rocks are such fragile. It's like slivers of sandstone bedrock. And now and again the river will be up here pounding this and wearing it. Highlanders away to skim a stone along the river. Oh, he got it all the way to the bridge almost. See this tree as well, this will have actually come floating down the river as well in a storm. Highlanders going for the skim. Whoa, look at this, the size of this tree here. The landscape is like being in some sort of scene from like post-apocalyptic Scotland. Whoa, these stones are above the river. And I'm just being cautious because this tree could roll and like push me into the river if I make the wrong move. Wow, I was wanting to come down because look at the way the ivy and stuff is just growing over the top. The trees are clinging on to the rocks. Whoa, this rock here is moving around. The rock is rocking about. Whoa, this is a crazy corner of Scotland right here, folks. I can't even believe where I am. Whoa, this is a madness. This is like some fairy tale location under here. Look at the way the ivy is above our heads and the moss is on the surface of the rocks. The ground here is so fragile and it could just topple down at any moment. But I'm taking this risk to get the footage. And look at that, it's almost like a cave there at that corner. Wow, what a scene there of the bridge. What a scene of Scotland. Wow. I've never been right down to this corner and it's cool. I love seeing the historical corners of Scotland mixed with the incredible wild landscapes. And the River Isla can get ferocious down here at times. So there you are, folks, there's another little corner of Scotland on this video. And it's so cool to see different aspects or different things. And it's just all abandoned basically. Little stories of time. From the house at the start of the video and then this now, like a bridge which is recently abandoned. And it'll be unknown when it will be repaired, really. Welcome to the next location in the video, folks, and we're now in the beautiful landscape of Glen Quarry. And this is a crazy piece of landscape in Scotland. The beautiful Ballantor Castle stands up on the hillside here. And there's actually a cool piece of history down in the hollow, down at the old duck pond here. It used to be an old dam, and there's some cool old remains of the dam, massive sluice gates and stuff like that. But the crazy historical detail of this old dam, like it actually burst at a certain time and flooded a great area of land. So it's cool to go and see what's left of it today, before the summertime conditions come back and sometimes things like this get super overgrown. But within this piece of land of Scotland there is a lot of wee historical nuggets hidden from all times in history. So it's cool with this video just to have these wee short clips of different places. It's always random, the wee corners of Scotland we end up in the middle of, and who would have known it? An ancient abandoned dam, which would have been built originally as a water supply. And water back in the day was actually used so much for so many things. It used to power many a mill or many a farm. A lot of the stuff around here will be gamekeepers' apparatus for feeding the birds out on the hills for the shoots that go on in the land. And we're basically heading round the side of the land here to that hollow, and that's where the dam used to be constructed. So this water supply here, this little burn is the one that flows into the pond that we're about to see on the video, and we're literally making the most of these days because the sun's just almost going down below the height of the horizon there. This is kind of an evening adventure. On the faraway hill I can see loads of rabbits running about. This point in the land here, folks, look, the two burns join. It's like there's a second burn coming down the hill. Not unless it splits apart further up. Sometimes on these adventures we've just got a basic idea of the direction we need to go and we're just kind of heading left and right, trying to pick a dry route here and try to avoid getting chased off by the farmer before we see any abandoned history. But yeah, this is just so cool around here. All this bog grass, that's a sign of super wet conditions underfoot. And the wee river just flows its way around. I think there is a lot of gamekeeping operations going on here though, judging from the wee bridges and stuff like that. Check out, folks, we've made it to the incredible piece of history. I'm just looking at a dry route here around. These are some massive old sluices, and this would have been where they would have controlled the flow of water, leaving this incredible dam that was constructed here. Look at the size of it. See, on a previous adventure I've actually climbed up there before, years ago, before I even had this camera. So I'm going to climb up again and document it fully. Check out that, look through there, out the other side, maybe for like releasing the water. I'm not sure if at one time it was diverted elsewhere. Wow, this is one of the clues of the original dam which is now gone. The dam wall would have led out that way as well. But then also along there you can see the original ridge is still at that side. Wow, and they would have literally turned the thread there with a big key and it would have winched it up and down. And look, there's a big mesh part here. See, I think that mesh would have originally been over those pipes. The other end of the pipes is at the other side of here, and this whole section must have been the dam wall. And you can actually see how it looks like it's been washed out to a certain point. Let's see the other side of these pipes, folks. Wow, it's a crazy piece of land. There's still a lot of water flowing. There's maybe frogs and stuff in here. I've seen a lot of frogs this past couple of weeks. Yeah, that's the two pipes right there. Nature's taken right back over in a place like this. And like, this is the wee river that flows round. There is still a current pond over there. And I'm sure I can actually see ducks. There's loads of ducks still on it. It's still a current duck pond. Anyway, let's take another look at this. This is a Highlander there on the tree. This is cool though, to see this construction of history. It's often like, well, it's almost like a scar or skeleton that's left on the land here to tell the tale of the ancient dam. And I'm going to climb up here, I think, and then document the top of it. And I'll show you how it looks like the top of the threads up there has been hit with a hammer. The realest of adventures, folks, on the channel. This is like 1.5 stories high off the ground, I would say. But look at this, somebody's literally been able to access this by walking up to the top of the dam wall, I believe. Now it's obviously hard to get up, but back in the day, they've been able to come here and hit this with a hammer, probably if it was getting tight. The mechanism was maybe starting to seize. And it is interesting to see as well, both of these were individually controlled. Look at that, folks, the massive old construction. And I believe it must have been like 1800s, 1900s when this like gave way, and I'm sure a massive body of water went away down the glen. And yeah, it is like one of those little details of the history that's almost forgotten. I love to see it. Look how nature just takes over. All these shrubs, it's like there's maybe been a bird nesting in there or whatever at a certain time. And look at that, the moss. The forgotten history of Scotland, documented once again. I never know where I'm going to end up. To see a thing like this, it's so cool. Are you wanting to document my descent here? Because I'm going to try and be careful, but you know how it is, folks. Look at that, folks, the detail here, that's almost broken off with the rust. At one time it would have slidden up and down. The mechanisms of history, and this bit I'm standing in would have been cleared out, potentially, for the flow of the water, and then the wall would have been up at that side. Highlander was saying there's evidence over here of the beavers, which have been kicking about in these lands. People say, oh, they've reintroduced beavers into Britain, but in Scotland they've always been here. And look, here's one that's felled a tree. This is what you see a lot with the beavers in Scotland. All these trees here have been cut down by them. And they could be kicking about around here right now. There's even some holes in the riverbank and stuff. And often they're quite timid. They'll watch from a distance, but there must be a lot around here, judging from the amount of sticks. Look at this tree here, folks. It's got the lichen on it, and that's meant to be a sign of the clean air here in the lands of Scotland. Look at that bit, it's like a beard. It almost looks like it's been hooked on there. That's madness. Things in nature. You would think you were on an alien planet if you just look a wee bit closer at things. And then let's just take one last look at this. It's a historical nugget hidden in the lands of Scotland. Hardly seen and hardly documented, and the fact is I've never been here for probably for like 5 years or whatever. So it's cool to update the history before it is gone and forgotten. Things were constructed proper, like the sluice mechanism there. And it shows the original height of that, which matches up with that ridge. And it's cool often to see waterworks in that industrial side of Britain, because we have documented a few different waterworks over the years on the channel. I was just going up here to get another aspect of the sluice from the high point in the land. Wow, it's cool just to see that, folks. The character of the concrete as well is what makes these abandoned places look amazing. Nature just like grows over it with the moss. The grey concrete slowly disappears. And it's such a variation of things we've seen today. This was a mad one to come and see. Look, that must have been the mesh that was like over the front of the pipes originally. Because the way it's built, it's kind of onto those pins like old rivets. A lot of the stuff was built by like local blacksmiths and things back at that time. And yeah, I don't know what all was original as far as the groundworks goes and the original size of the dam. But it's cool to see that last remaining clue of the history here in the land. And it's something different for the video. Here we go, folks. Way to skim it. So this has been a mad wee bit of landscape we've explored today, folks. To get down to that dam, it's kind of just like this little wild track. There's so many midges and stuff fleeing about now at this time of year. It's getting a bit warmer. Today it was actually 14 degrees Celsius, which is really hot for the area we are at this time of year. So it's fine for us getting out and about exploring. But pretty soon all this will be all growing up head height with weeds and long grasses. And that makes it difficult to get to places like that and see them. Because that one's just kind of in the middle of the wild land with no road directly to it. No, unless you would call that a road. We're taking a shortcut on the way back here. We're going directly across this field as the crow flies. It's just wild grazing lands here, but there's no actually any livestock in this field. And it basically is a lot shorter. The way we came in is kind of wild, rough boglands. And it is incredible to see Ballantor standing up on the hill as well. Shout out David if you're watching this video. This area in Scotland is so cool. The landscape is just breathtaking, especially when it's just about sunset like this. You can just see it over the top of the hill. And there is a bit of heat in the sun. So the lands of Glen Quarry and the Ballantor area of this glen has got so much cool historical wonders hidden in the middle of it. There's actually an old track with some more history, and in the future we're going to come back on another video and document more stuff. There's actually an old abandoned farm croft at the far side of this glen as well, which I mean to come back to in the future. And it's so cool in Scotland having that history from all different times, but also just like all different things as well, not just industry but like wartime buildings or even waterworks and stuff like that, castles, houses, you know how it is. So there we are, folks, more history of Scotland documented in this adventure, starting off with the old cottage around near the new tile area, and then we moved on to that bridge which is at the Den of Airlie in the wild lands of Scotland, and then we're here. We've come to the Glen Quarry, Ballantor area of Scotland to document that old pond, that old dam site with the cool old sluice gates. I love to see it, big mechanical things like that was built for the industry of the country or for the water source or supply of the country. It's amazing what they did back then with those like big metal shutters that winch up and down as you turn the thing. Nowadays dams have still got similar things to that, but they're all like electronically controlled. Originally that dam, somebody would have come up with a key probably and adjusted it as they needed it. Anyway, we're almost back to the car, so I'm going to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander 87, and we'll see you very soon for the next one, wherever I end up going.